Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's check out Umineko. Wait, what was it? Yeah, Umineko When They Cry question marks on PC. Now this is going to be a long. This is going to be a long review, so strap in. Okay, let's start. Episode 1. Legend of the Golden Witch. Welcome to Rokujima. The Golden Witch extends her heartfelt greetings. Please, take it easy and relax for the time being. There's no need to think overly hard about any of this. Quietly accept all that is about to happen. That is what's being asked of you. The difficulty level is standard. You might as well start by taking the easy road. Okay, new function, tips mode. In the middle of the game at any time, a right click with the mouse will open up the tips mode. Here, besides the save and load functions, you can view character profiles and more. Additional information will be added as you progress through the story. Probably a good idea to take a peek here every once in a while. This story is very obviously fictional and fantastic in nature, any resemblance to existing individuals' organization. Okay. Again. So, you still haven't overcome your love of alcohol. The old physician let out a sigh as he removed the stethoscope. 2 elderly men could be seen in the dimly lit studio, which was filled with dust and a sickly sweet stench. In the corner of this room, which was much larger than what most people would call a study, was an expensive-looking bed, a man undergoing a medical examination, and the physician conducting it. Okay, hold on a minute. Wow. Let's see here. Hold on a minute. It's really loud. I didn't think it would be that loud. Okay, let's see here. Toggle volume on or muted. There's no... It's either on or off. Okay. Okay, we'll just deal with the loudness, I guess. In the corner of this room, which was much larger than what most people would call a study, was an expensive-looking bed, a man undergoing a medical examination, and the physician conducting it. There was also what appeared to be a servant watching over the whole scene. The bottle is my friend. It is no less of a friend than you, and it has stood by my side even longer than you have. As the man baring his chest for the stethoscope rearranged his clothes, he spoke unapologetically. Kinzo-san, your body only appears to be well thanks to the effects of the medicine. However, if you continue to drink such strong spirits, the treatment will become meaningless. Trust my judgment. Refrain from drinking. I thank you, though only for the sentiment, my friend. Genji, another glass. Water it down slightly. That way Nanjo can save face. Are you quite sure? After eyeing both the master who demanded the alcohol and the family doctor who forbade it, Genji, the old butler, silently gave a slight nod and carried out his master's orders faithfully. The family doctor, Nanjo, let out a deep sigh once again as he watched the butler busy himself alongside the liquor cabinet. There was a smell filling up the room. This sweet poisonous aroma felt as though it melted the heart, if not the soul itself. It was the smell of that venomous green drink that the man couldn't bear to part with. Nanjo, you are my close friend, and we have known each other for quite a long time. I am deeply grateful for all that you have done to keep me alive this long. I have done nothing. After all, you never listened to my advice as your physician. And you never listened when I warned you about a mistaken chess move you were about to make. Seems only fair, does it not? Master. Thank you. I would die if I ran out of your medicine, but I would if I ran out of this. Disregarding Nanjo, who had his face set in a resigned expression, Kinzo took the glass that Genji was holding out to him. Very few people would associate that venomous color with an alcoholic beverage. Nanjo, be honest with me. How much time do I have left? Well now, how short must I make it to convince you to set the bottle aside? Nanjo once again let out a sigh of resignation. Then he finally spoke to Kinzo as the latter swirled his glass. You don't have long. What precisely do you mean by that? Let us illustrate it with the chess game here. You have very nearly achieved checkmate, but you have not yet cornered my king. Nanjo's gaze was directed at a side table with a massive chess set placed on top of it. Judging by the positioning of the pieces, the game seemed to be entering its final stages. Black's rook and bishop were cutting deeply into enemy lines. White's king had already been castled and cornered, so that even an amateur could see that the match would reach its conclusion before too long. Every time Nanjo came to give a medical examination, both of them would make a few moves. Nanjo was hinting that Kinzo would most likely fall into his eternal sleep before this game could be concluded. These were less the words of a physician than they were the words of an old friend. You were a normal patient. Were you a normal patient, I would recommend that you write a will at this point. And what is a will, Nanjo? Handwritten instructions to the vultures on how to devour and scatter my corpse? No, not at all. As the word suggests, it is a way for you to record your will for later generations. It is far more than just a means to divide up your inheritance. Oh. And apart from this division of the inheritance, what might I write off? What might I write of? You might write of your regrets, or matters you have left unfinished. Things you want to pass down to others, or merely matters you wish to communicate. Anything you want. Things I want to pass down to others, or matters I wish to communicate? Ridiculous. I, Urashimiya Kinzu, have not one thing I want to tell or leave behind. I was born with nothing. I will die with nothing. There is nothing I wish to leave to my foolish children. Even if the end were to come today, even if it were to come right now, I would accept that fate of death without a trace of fear. I created everything. My fortune, my prestige, everything. Those were built up by me, and they will be lost along with me. There is nothing I wish to leave behind. Nothing. After I'm gone, I care not if it all goes to waste. Desire no tomb, no coffin. No, I desire no tomb, no coffin. Those were the terms of the contract I made with the witch. When I die, everything will be lost. That has been part of the promise since the beginning, and that's why nothing will be left behind. There is nothing I can leave behind. After reaching a furious crescendo, Kinzu suddenly slumped over. His expression was limp and feeble, as though an evil spirit had possessed him and then left. However, I do have one regret. I have nothing to leave behind, but there is one thing I cannot leave undone. You would do well to write it down. Of course, it would be best if you could finish it before your time comes. However, even if the worst happens, those who come after you will carry it to completion. You must leave behind your regrets so that they can be resolved, even if you are unable to do so yourself. That is the purpose of a will. When Nanjo tried to gently pat Kinzo's shoulder, the dying man flew into a sudden rage and batted away Nanjo's hand. It's useless. Useless, useless. It must be done while I still live. At the moment of my death, my soul will be devoured by the demons of the contract and wiped out of existence. For me, there will be no peace or another world after death. That's why everything must be completed before I go. That's why a will has no meaning for me. And even if I had a chance to write such a thing, if I did have such a chance, I'd want to see it. I want to see it one more time. I want to see Beatrice's smiling face one last time. Oh, Beatrice, why have you resisted me for so long? I'll return everything you have given me. I am prepared to lose everything. So please, show me your smile just one more time. Beatrice, I beg of you. You must be able to hear my plea. That's the kind of woman you are. I beg of you, show yourself to me. You're here, aren't you? You're standing there, invisible, listening to every word I say. And even now, you're mocking me from somewhere in this room, aren't you? Please, appear before me once more and smile. Feel free to scold me, even snatch away my life by your own hands if you so desire. I don't want to die alone like this. I cannot let myself die until I've seen your smile just one more time. Ah, Beatrice. Beatrice! I offer up this life of mine. I offer it up to you. I'm begging you, Beatrice. Seventh expansion presents. When They Cry 3. Well, When They Cry question marks. We might as well mute it now. Otherwise, the copyright vultures will swoop in. Yeah, it's a real shame we have to mute, such a lively introduction. But the copyrights are very they're very varied in Japanese published titles. Whereas Western published titles, the publisher tries to own the entire breadth of the content. So they try to own the rights to the music and the art and the code, but that's not quite the same in Japanese development. A lot of times the musicians are able to obtain, or the publishers are able to obtain that rights for themselves. The First Day, October 4th, 1980. George Aniki scratched his head and laughed, as though trying to hide his embarrassment. Of course, he was just being humble. Aniki entered university and became an apprentice at Uncle Hideyoshi's company at the same time, studying both academics and how to become a business emperor in parallel. Then, right after graduating, he got into Uncle Hideyoshi's company as his father's aide, piling up a lot of real-life experience as he devoted himself zealously to his work. His great dream is to one day stand out on his own and build up his own kingdom. Aniki's a real paragon of a man, sparing no effort as he strives toward his goal. It's no exaggeration to say that I really respect him. And then there's me. I'm nothing at all like Aniki. I'm living my happy-go-lucky, idle, high school life to the max. I've got no dreams for the future. I'd like to just sit back, stay cool, and let the money flow in, but of course that could never happen. When Aniki was my age, he had already formed an impressive objective and had started devoting himself towards studying for that goal, so I guess I can't compare at all. My dad just says, sure, you can study at my company if you like cleaning toilets. Damn it, I'm not going to be in the debt of that old bastard. I'll find my way myself. If only willpower was all it took to become an adult. Should I go on one of those self-searching journeys that are all the rage these days? Well, it's not like I could mooch off my parents for that kind of money. Right then, Uncle Hideyoshi shouted out loudly. He's a really nice person on the whole, but he does have a problem controlling the volume of his voice. When I looked over, I saw that he was greeting Aunt Rosa, who had come late. her name is almost as ridiculous as Dad's. I've got to respect her for not ending up as screwed up as she is. As screwed up as he is. When I think about it, all the names in my family sound foreign. Just why is Grandfather so obsessed with that? Because of him, even we grandchildren have to put up with this weird naming sense. It's even more annoying since Grandfather's own name is perfectly normal. Anyway, there's one thing about Aunt Rosa that's a relief compared to the other family members. The old bastard and Aunt Eva have this annoying urge to tease and mock people all the time. But even though she shares their blood, Aunt Rosa isn't like that at all. She has the most common sense among all the siblings. Like Uncle Hideyoshi, she's a kind aunt who will always be on the kid's side. However, possibly because she's more strict as a parent, she's not liberal with handing out spending money like Uncle Hideyoshi. Okay, now that we have the entire group of family members who are going to board the plane, at that moment, as though it had waited for us all to arrive, an announcement rang out through the lobby. Our apologies for the delay. Boarding will now commence for Flight 201 to Nijima. We ask that the passengers please form 2 lines in front of the counter behind the white line. Rosa, you still haven't gone through boarding procedures, right? Hurry up! Oh no! Mia, come on! We had to go through a metal detector before going out on the runway. Our small plane wasn't as massive as an international flight, but it was still a plane. A staff member holding a metal detector checked us all. Once all of us cleared the check, we followed the staff member out onto the runway. Come to think of it, everyone here is in the Ushiromiya. Oh boy. This one's gonna be tough for me. Ushiromiya family. It's like this is a reverse charter flight or something. Our group stopped in front of the entrance to the airplane. Then our guide turned around and spoke, looking down at the passenger list as they did. Boarding will now commence. As I call out the names on the passenger list, please take your seats in order, starting from the front row on the right side and going right to left, then onto the next row. I will now begin reading the passenger list. Ushiromiya Hideyoshi-sama. Oh, I'm first. Right here. By the way, do you have some candy, Eva? I've been looking all over for some, but I can't find any. Ushiromiya Eva-sama. They're in my handbag. I'll get one once we're inside the plane. I've heard that candies are a good way to protect your ears from hurting because of variations in atmospheric pressure when landing or taking off. And that's probably what they're talking about. I hope I get a window seat. Don't worry, there aren't any other kinds of seats. As George Heineke said, there were apparently only 2 kinds of seats. So this is what a small plane is like. We are totally sure it's not going to shake, right? Ushiromiya George-sama. Right here. Don't worry about the Lagoon. It won't shake too much. Ushiromiya Butler-sama. Haneki, what do you mean, not too much? You can just swim if you fall from a boat, but if a plane crashes, you're screwed, right? We all get our own parachutes in our seats, don't we? Wait, we don't? Ushiromiya Rudolph-sama. Come on, Butler, stop standing there slack-jawed and get in. Oh, ow, Dad! Don't push me. We don't get parachutes. Ushiromiya Kirya-sama. Okay, you two, stop fooling around. Let's move on. Well, let's move on in. Ow, Kitty! Don't push me! This blockhead isn't moving. Ushiromiya Maria-sama. Let's move on in. Ushiromiya Rosa-sama. Maria, be quiet. This is your pilot, Kawabata. We'd like to thank you for taking New Tokyo Aviation's Flight 201 today. We estimate that the flight to Nijima Airport will take about 20 minutes. We are receiving reports of atmospheric turbulence. There may be some shaking on the aircraft, so we ask that you do not unfasten your seatbelts after takeoff. Did that guy just said we need to wear seatbelts? In a jumbo jet, they let you undo them after takeoff, right? So if it's going to shake so much, we can't take them off? Damn it, you tricked me. It's going to shake after all. Where are the parachutes? I should have taken the boat. The boat. Let's save here, and why don't we stop it there? This is audap. You've been watching Umineko When They Cry question arcs on PC. Yeah, unfortunately, there's not a console version of this that I can show you, so yeah, we are going to revert to the PC one. Yeah, there's no voice acting, clearly, but I can say that all of the prose and the translation is written incredibly well. You know, I'm not used to having things that seem like they're actually written in their native language. I mean, so the English script really does sound like a good English writer, and I'm assuming the Japanese script is the same way as well. Yeah, so this, again, this is a very, very long sound novel, and we're going to be spending a lot of time playing it over the next few weeks. You know, the visual novels that I tend to play tend to be very, very long games, but this one's longer than most, I think. Plus, there is also the next set of chapters after this, which are the answer arcs. But yeah, it'll be a while before we get to those. So hopefully you enjoy listening, and I know I don't have very many voice styles and types, and I can't do a female voice to save my life. But hopefully, as you read and follow along, that won't be as much of a problem. And you know, your brain can just click in when you hear female and male voices. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.